my friends, how are you? Yay, we're here for our weekly live in Mom XVA. I'm so excited for this week's topic. I want to hear chime in. How are you doing? Where are you tuning in from? What are your goals for today? Today is so good. So today we're talking about how to go from doubt to booked out. If you are new to the VA industry, you might be wondering like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Can I do this? Is it possible for me? Yes, yes, yes. The answer is yes to all of that. You can absolutely crush it as a VA. And so what the things that I want to share with you today are really my strategies and tips for turning your doubt, like alchemizing it into power, into confidence. So we're going to be diving into some key strategies, starting with mindset, and then we'll be going to some more structural and strategic action steps for you. So my goal is by the end of this training that you walk away feeling empowered and also most importantly, feeling ready to take action, because learning without implementation really means nothing. So my goal is to really get you in motion today where you're like, okay, I know these very tangible things that I can do today, not tomorrow, today. So let's talk about it. And first of all, of course, welcome to Mom XVA. If you're new here, this is the community for moms who are in the virtual assistant industry and really redefining what's possible in motherhood. The VA industry is amazing. And I also believe that it stands for something so much bigger than simply being a VA. It gives us the ability to say yes to what we want, to say yes to ourselves, to our kids, to have freedom, to have flexibility, to have meaningful work, to do it all from home, to earn a consistent income. There's just so many beautiful things about the VA industry. So let's dive in. If you are new or if you are a VA already, but you're not where you want to be, you're not yet earning the income that you want to earn, you want to book more clients, this training is 100% for you. Let me grab some water and we will dive in. I'm so excited. Okay, so first, this is so important. What I want you to know about the VA industry is that you get to leverage and use the skills that you already have. I am guessing that you have an amazing background in corporate, a career, maybe you've volunteered for a church or a school. All of that experience counts as a virtual assistant. So that's one of the biggest things that where I see, new VAs either absolutely crush it from the beginning or have a slower start. And it simply comes down to owning what you already know. That's the biggest thing that I can tell you. And if you're not sure how to look at your experience from the lens of what you can offer as a VA, here's a super simple process for you, is just do a brain dump inventory of everything you've done in your career, job titles you've had, projects you've worked on, skills, tech platforms that you've used, and have it be this visual in front of you. And what I hope is that you realize like, wow, I've done a lot more than I think that I have. And a fun example of this too, like everything counts. One of my students in my VA Leadership Academy, she went through like a year and a half ago, and she'd been a stay-at-home mom for years, like many years. It had been a long time since she worked in an office, but she had decided to start volunteering at her church, and she was helping them with social media and marketing, and not from a place of like, I'm this expert, but oh, this feels like something fun that I can, figure out and like really help them with. And then when she came into the academy, we're like, okay, let's pull out the gold nuggets of this experience. She'd done it for maybe 6 weeks volunteering, and we turned that into services that she could offer as a VA, and she had prior experience. And you guys, I kid you not, she booked out her business so fast. Like I have a message from her. I saved it because it cracked me up. She was like, is this normal? I keep booking clients. Like, I don't always want to feel like I'm bragging, but like, is this normal? I'm like, yes, of course it is. And what she did and what you can take away is just really looking at all of your experience and deciding that also that your experience is valuable, that it counts, that you can offer it as services. So once you've done your brain dump inventory of all the things that you've done in your career or volunteer work, then you're going to look at it through the lens of themes or patterns. And so here, say that you have been a teacher. So there's so many things that you can pull out from being a teacher. Your students, if you want to look at them as like project management, right? Because you manage the communication, the timelines, the deliverables, all the things that go into nurturing and taking care of these beautiful children for a year. And so project management is an amazing service that teachers can offer. You also are ninjas at communicating and navigating different personalities and like holding the energy of a room. And so teachers typically also make really good community managers and really good, so these are all services you can offer: project management, community management, client experience, because you know how to work with and interact with people. There's 3 services already. And so this is how, you know, even if you're not, obviously not a teacher, I know we have a lot of teachers in here, but so many different amazing backgrounds, but that's how you want to look at your services, your experience, and then translate it into services. So really zoom out from like a high level of what you're doing in your, if you currently work or if you used to work, all of that, and turn them into services. And then here's the thing too, is like, I cannot give you permission for you to own yourself as being the expert. You have to give yourself that permission. And so some of it is simply an energetic decision that I'm doing this and I'm going to own what I have. It doesn't mean that you know all the things, that you have like a cajillion certifications or a PhD, but you're saying, yeah, like I got this. I have experience and I can take this into someone's business. What I don't know, I can learn. That's one of the most beautiful mindsets too, is I know a lot, and also what I don't know, I can learn. Type that in the chat if you're like, yes, okay, I got this. Okay. So the next thing is simply, this is like a love and shove moment here. People cannot hire you if they don't know that you exist. And so part of like coming from owning what you've done is getting out there, like putting yourself out there, letting people know what you're up to. Because if people don't know what you're up to, like they surely can't support you. They can't help you book out your VA business. And everyone wants to see you win. They want to see you win. And so, you know, whether if you use social media, amazing. People love to be along for your journey. So let them know, like, yo, I just launched a VA business. I'm so excited. I'm, you know, taking my 10 years of experience doing this, and I'm going to do it from home for a client. So if you know of anyone, I would love to connect. Like you could literally post that today, word for word. There's action step number 1. Let people know what you're up to. And on that note too, confidence comes from action. It does not come from thinking or planning. So another love and shove moment is, instead of thinking about your VA business, instead of planning for it, like I want you to just get in action today. Get in action today. Identify what is 1 to 3 things that you could do today to move your VA business forward. Do you have a portfolio yet? No. If no, okay, go build one. And don't let it take you a long time. Like, give yourself a little loving like smack in the face if you're like, okay, I'm way overthinking this. You can use ChatGPT to help you, right? You can brainstorm, ideate, put your professional experience in there, tell it that you're becoming a virtual assistant. You know, what are services I can offer? What are things I can do for clients? Help me message myself, position myself, all of that. So if it's taking you more than like 2 hours to do your VA portfolio, I just want to like pour some like love and shove into you. I feel like it shouldn't take you that long, because confidence comes from action, doesn't come from thinking and planning. And you also are going to get so much more clarity when you put yourself out there and you're getting market feedback. You're getting, you know, are you not getting responses? That tells you just as much. If you are getting responses, you know, you apply to jobs. If you're not hearing back, likely. And this also is so huge. Don't make it mean anything about you. Make it mean that there's more to learn about messaging and positioning, and how, like, look at it from feedback instead of that it's not working. Like, okay, well, what tweaks can we make to my portfolio? Should I make some tweaks to my services? Let me go study other VAs, see what they're doing. Let me watch how they show up. You know, the ones that are booking clients quickly, what is it that they're doing? Yeah. So that's the biggest thing too, is like, I mean, so much comes down to confidence and taking action and knowing that you get clarity in the action. And if you're not where you want to be, please don't make it mean that you can't do it. It's simply just feedback for you to optimize and refine. And just like transparently, when I started my business before I found the VA industry, I decided, I was like, oh, I'm going to start my own business. This is going to be amazing. I had no idea what I wanted to do. And I actually started out, I was like, well, I'm a mom, I have 3 young kids. So let's talk about like confidence in motherhood, and just like really finding joy and alignment. And so I, just like, I'm going to go all in, like hired mentors, did the thing. You guys, I made $132 in 6 months. It wasn't working, but at the same time, I was like, I know where I want to go. Even then I was like 20, 30K months. This is what I'm going to do. And, I was earning like $60 a month, $0 a month, all of that. And I just kept going. I kept investing in myself. And my mantra here was actually something I heard from Alex Hormozy. He was like, you only fail if you quit. And I would literally just tell myself that, like, and I'm like, the back of my head I was like, I only fail if I quit. I only fail if I quit. I only fail if I quit. I just kept going. And I was totally delusional. My husband's like, okay, we got to stop investing in mentorship. And I'm like, I can't stop. Like, I will literally go wait tables if I have to. Like, I just have to keep going. I have to keep going. And it was, month 6 was when I found the VA industry, and instantly I booked out my business. And what I really saw there was that the 6 months where it like looked and felt like it wasn't working, it actually was all compounding. It was all working for me. I just couldn't see it yet, because everything that I had learned in those 6 months, investing in my skills, investing in mentorship, putting myself in rooms with people who were doing it, as soon as I found like the right opportunity for me, and if you're here, like I would imagine you feel like the VA industry is the right opportunity for you too. I was like, oh, like everything I've learned in the past 6 months, boop, 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 like suddenly my business is booked out. So trust the process too for you is like, if you're not where you want to be, or you're like me, I'll never be where I want to be, because I always like, my goals are always evolving, my leadership's evolving, my vision's evolving. And that's like, enjoy the process, enjoy the journey, because that's all part of it. You only fail if you quit, truly. So just keep going. Make sure that you're in action. Don't just be thinking about it for 6 months. Like, actually go apply for VA jobs, create your portfolio, let people know what you're up to, reach out to business owners, and not even to have them hire you, but why don't you pick their brain about, do you work with VAs? If you were to work with VAs, like, what would you hire for? What things would you want to offload? Just go do market research. Because the thing is too, when you get out there, you get market research, you get feedback from people who would hire VAs or are VAs, go have coffee, like virtual coffee dates with VAs, and just start picking people's brains, because you're going to start picking up on patterns. Like, okay, but a lot of business owners are saying this, or, VAs are saying this about how they booked out their business. Okay, like, I'm going to do this too. That was truthfully, you guys, that was how a big thing, obviously investing in mentorship and my skills, but also one of the things that I did, and this was even before I started my own business, was I would just, because before I started my own business, I was in direct sales, and I rose to the top. It took several years, but the thing, truthfully, the only thing I did to really rise to the top of a direct sales company, and then, now with business, I would study people who were where I wanted to be. And I would literally, watch their content. I would notice both the tangible things and also the intangible. How do I feel in their energy? What vibe do they put off? Are they high energy? Even, how do they dress? All of that. I would be noticing and studying and then emulating, using it for inspiration. Be because success leaves clues. It does. You don't need to reinvent the wheel for success. All you got to do is really put yourself in the rooms with people who normalize success. Or, this Facebook group, right? You're in a room of over 10,000 virtual assistants. How amazing is that? Mentorship, getting in programs, in memberships with people who are doing the thing. Because what you are around, what you're surrounded by, is what's normalized. So if you can normalize success, if you can normalize growth, if you can normalize grit, if you can normalize resiliency, if you can normalize confidence, if you can normalize showing up and taking action before you feel comfortable, imagine what's possible for you. And the way that you normalize it is, 1, getting in the rooms with people who are doing it, and 2 is doing it. Actually just doing it, going out there and getting after it. So going from doubt to booked out truly is about just getting into action. I actually was on a podcast interview yesterday with a friend. She was interviewing me, and we're talking about business and my story and all of that, and she's like, yeah, it seems like you just rose so quickly. And I was like, but actually I didn't. I mean, I did, but I didn't, because it took 6 months before I made over $200. And then, you know, it all compounded. And what I told her is exactly what I'm telling you, that like, to be good, I had to suck. Like, and I had to be okay sucking. I was really sucky for a long time. Like, now business is very intuitive to me, and I would say, you know, quite normalized, right? I'm like, oh, let's launch a new offer. Let's do whatever, right? But it didn't feel that way. Like, I kid you not, actually, this is so funny now to think about this, but like 2.5 years ago, going live, my lips would like shake. Like, I would feel like I was going to have a panic attack. Like, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna hurl my breakfast kind of vibes. And there were some times where I'm like, I'm supposed to go live, and like, I literally just can't because I'm shaking. But here's the thing too, like how you can use this in your own business too, is like, if there's something where you're like, you have this visceral like body reaction where you're like, whoa, like what is happening? Like, I'm having a somatic response to this right now. Like, it's triggering, you know, fight or flight in my body, which was what was happening to me with lives. I was like, okay, well, let's break this out into pieces. How can I do this without it feeling super unsafe for me? And so, you know, an example of lives was I would interview someone. So then it wasn't like on me to carry and hold the energy in the conversation. But again, like I said with expanders, is I was studying like, okay, well, I'm interviewing all these experts. How do they show up? How do they talk? And then, you know, after a while, it was normalized. I was like, okay, I can do this. I can do this. So for you and your business, if there's parts that feel really scary, maybe it's putting yourself out there. Could you, you know, do a shared post with someone? Or could you, you know, talk to people that you know and love, that you know would do a shout out for you? Maybe you're like, oh, I don't want to like, you know, put a post on my feed, but my best friend who loves me and will always support what I do, she's going to shout me out on her page or in her stories. Like, hey, I see Emily's on, Bobby's on, Sydney's on. Like, they're like, my best friend Emily just launched her virtual assistant business, you guys. This is so cool. Go check her out. You know, like, there's ways that you can get around things that feel really triggering to you, and still get in action and still do them. And so I really encourage you there is just get into action. Okay. So the next thing too, like, you know, confidence, of course, so important, knowing that you already have the skills and expertise, that on top of this, to become booked out as a VA, you do have to show up as the VA that clients want to hire. Like, if you think about the analogy of like, say that you want to buy a phone, and you walk into a phone store and there is someone in there who's very apathetic, like could seem like they care less about, you know, phones, and you, the buyer, you're not really sure. Like, do you want an iPhone? Do you want an Android? What model, what year do you get? And so you need help from the salesperson. You kind of want them to convince you, to sell you on which is the best option. And this person's apathetic and they're like not really confident, not really clear. So you're like, well, I'll go to a different phone store. Now, say that you walk into the phone store and you're like, okay, I want to get a phone. You're talking to the salesperson. I want to get a phone. I don't know what, you know, can you help me? And they're like, oh my gosh, I know exactly what you need. This model here, it has all these features and this is what it's going to help you do. And you're like, sold. I am in. So this is the energy that you want to exude as a VA. And if you have never exuded this energy before, it will feel unnatural to you at first. That's totally normal. Like, I just want to normalize that. But success leaves clues. So you're studying how other successful VAs show up and you see that they're like, oh yeah, like I do this, this, and this. This is how I can help you. So you start thinking about your VA business like that as well. You got to show up as the VA that clients want to hire. So one is owning your expertise, like we talked about earlier, and I can't give you permission to do that. You have to give yourself permission. And so I want you to do that right here, right now, to realize, to recognize, to own, like, I've done amazing things in my career and I can simply take these and translate them and transfer them into a client's into a client's business as their virtual assistant. You know, stop hiding. You've got to be visible. They can't hire you if they don't know you exist. So get yourself out there. And like we talked about, there's a lot of different ways to do that if one way feels very scary. And here's an example too. When I started my VA business, it was almost like this test to like see if I could do it. And, you know, I got into quick action. I booked a multi 4-figure client in 3 days, but I hadn't announced that I was becoming a virtual assistant. I just applied to jobs and I was just like, yeah, I have this experience and I can do it. So again, it's like, if you don't want to use social media to book out your business, you absolutely don't have to. But the key and the caveat here then is you got to have confidence and own what you do and how you can help your clients, because they're going to pick up on that energy through your applications. And I've always seen too, in supporting hundreds of students in the VA Leadership Academy, the ones who are most successful treat booking out their business, like getting a VA job, like a job in and of itself. So they take it seriously. Every single day, they dedicate time to applications, to getting in action, to networking, to putting themselves out there. And that is what I recommend to you as well. Like we talked about earlier, like planning and thinking is not going to help book out your VA business. What's going to help is like taking the messy action and just doing it, not overthinking it, trusting the process. Success leaves clues. Like, what do other successful VAs do? How can you emulate and model that too? And then we talked about this a bit too, but what will help with your confidence and what's going to help, you show up as the booked out VA before you are, which will lead to you being booked out, is to really get in those rooms, to normalize that success. Here in this group, if you aren't in mentorship yet, I highly recommend that you get in mentorship, get in a room where you have hands-on support. That's, it's like, don't do this, do this, this works, don't say this in your applications. That, has been pivotal to my growth as, an entrepreneur. And, my students too, I have an amazing program. There's so many amazing VA programs out there. So you really get to discern which one is best for you. But if you have big goals, big VA goals, I highly, highly recommend getting help, because it's going to condense time. You're not going to be trial and erroring. You're not going to be Googling and seeing, 16 different, this is the only way to do it. You're going to have hands-on support to help you book out your VA business. And then just start connecting with people too. Virtual coffee dates with successful VAs, virtual coffee dates with business owners, pick their brain, get market research, feed and seed that market research into how you show up as a VA. You got this. I promise you. If you decided today, you're like, yeah, I'm doing the thing. I'm just going to claim and own my expertise. Even think of it as an experiment, right? If it's just this playground and you can't mess it up. I think that's another huge thing. You literally can't mess this up. So if you were to just have fun, see it as an experiment, be like, okay, I'm just going to make a daily action plan. I'm going to do these things every day and see what happens. What is that saying? F around and find out. That is kind of the energy that I want you to take into booking out your VA business, and just go full send. Make a daily action plan. I'm going to apply to 5 jobs and I'm going to do 10 proactive outreaches every day, and maybe try to schedule 2 virtual coffee dates. I kid you not, if you did that consistently, you would inevitably book out your VA business. And on that too is as you're showing up consistently, make sure that you're also taking the market feedback. Are you getting applications? Are you getting discovery calls? If you're not, what can we tweak? What can we play with? And again, going back to that's why mentorship is so helpful, because you can have help with that. But make sure that as you're taking action too, that you refine your processes. You're like, okay, this strategy really worked, so let's double down on that. This strategy isn't working, so we're not going to do that anymore. It's so possible, so doable. If you applied all of what I just talked about, you could literally be booked out next week. I kid you not. Business owners are looking for VAs right and left. You cannot scale and grow a business without support. So, I think that's one of the most fun things about the VA industry too, is that it's not going anywhere. It's just going to continue growing, because businesses needing team will never, that will never change. So I'm so excited for you. I know that you are absolutely ready to blow it up, ready to be the booked out VA. And it's simply, I think if nothing else, it just comes down to you owning it, deciding it, desiring it, claiming it, owning it, and then moving and showing up as it. You got this. I'm so excited. Now, if you do want support, you want help, you want hands-on, someone in your business with you, helping you assess okay, this isn't working, this is working, let's double down on this, here's what you say, all of that. This is what the VA Leadership Academy is for. I would love to welcome you in. I would love to support you in there. We've had over, I think it's like over 400 students have gone through the program. Wild stories. I actually have a brand new, I should share this. We just put together a 5K VA wall of fame because that's our benchmark. We help students get to 5K months. And so we're starting to compile videos from the VAs who've done it, who are sharing their tips and advice. So I'm going to grab that link so I can share it with you. And if you do want support, you want to get to 5K months, you want it to happen quicker, you don't want the guesswork, you want like a step-by-step plan, absolutely, this is what the VA Leadership Academy is for. Just send me a DM, ask for details, we can have a chat. You know, it's always no pressure. I always want the best thing for you. If it feels aligned, we'd love to celebrate you, support you in there. But know too, you have this amazing group, and I'm always here for you here in MomX VA. And I will see you for next week's live. All right, mwah, so much love. Bye, everybody.